Hey everybody, it's Mr. Marshall at Stony Lane. I have a book for you today. This is a book that is one that I found on my vacation. My family just went to Alaska, and it was a great trip. And I bought the book thinking this will be a great reminder for me about my trip. But when I read the book, I started realizing that there's so much more to it. Okay, because this is a book that's a genre called a fable. A fable. A fable is an animal. A fable is a story that usually has animals as characters, but it can have people as characters too. And part of what a fable does is if there are animals, they kind of act like people a lot of times. And there's a big fancy word for that. That's called anthropomorphism, but whatever, that's not that important right now. But something that happens in a fable is the storyteller is trying to teach the reader, that's you, an important lesson about life. Okay, so we're going to read this story. It has animals from Alaska, and it's going to teach a lesson. So see if you can figure out what the lesson inside the story is. Ready? So this is called Walk on the Wild Side, and it's written by Nicholas Oldland. Okay, I hope you enjoy this book. Walk on the Wild Side. There once was a bear, a moose, and a beaver who loved adventures. But sometimes their competitive natures got in their way of having fun. One sunny morning, the bear, the moose, and the beaver decided it was a great day to climb a mountain. Look at that mountain. Alaska's filled with mountains just like that. It's beautiful. So to get to the mountain, they went down, they descended into a valley. They walked through a grassy field. Are we there yet? They waded through a stream and crossed a deep canyon. Don't look down. At the foot of the mountain, they stopped for a snack, and between mouthfuls, the bear, the moose, and the beaver discussed ways to make their hike more interesting. The beaver thought the best way to add some excitement was to make it a race. I'm number one. Look at this picture. As soon as they finished their last bites, the three friends were off and running, and the race was on. There's a little bird that's with them everywhere. Thanks to his long legs, the moose took an early lead, but the bear and the beaver followed right on his tail. Look at the picture. The picture is going to help tell some of the story. Then, just as the moose rounded the bend in the mountain path, a boulder came tumbling down toward him. Uh-oh. Danger, right? Let's see what happens. Fortunately, the moose jumped out of harm's way just in time. But unfortunately, he had jumped over the side of the mountain. Ah! Let's see what happens. When the beaver rounded the bend, the moose was out of sight. Worried that he had fallen behind, the beaver picked up his pace. And when the bear came running by, he heard the moose's cry for help. The bear followed the sound of the sound to the mountain's edge, where he saw the moose dangling from a tree branch. Help! Are they being good friends? What would good friends do, right? What would good friends do? Fearlessly, the bear attempted a daring rescue. Sadly, he failed. Whoops. But thanks to the moose's quick reflexes, the bear's life was saved. Oh, thanks. But now they were both hanging on for their lives. So the moose and the bear's cries for help echoed up the mountain. The beaver followed their calls back down the path. Help! The beaver's instincts kicked in. He chewed down the tree. He carved out a few notches and lowered the simple ladder to the moose and the bear so they could climb up. Back on solid ground, the three friends realized their hike had become a little too exciting. If they were going to make it to the top of the mountain, a slower pace might be better. There's our bird again. And that's when their hike became truly interesting. They explored a dark cave. You go first, you go first, you go first. They discovered a prehistorical fossil and helped one another along the way. At the end of the day, the bear, the moose, and the beaver agreed that reaching the top of the mountain was great, but enjoying the journey together was even better. And that is the end. So there was a lesson in there, wasn't there? But it was a fun lesson, right? It was a fun way to learn a lesson. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed that fable. I'll see you next time.